This is Desiree Dubonnet. Just wanted to tell you, you see, we're not as young as we used to be. In fact, now we're more Jungian than ever. Carl Jung gave us a gift of understanding of the basic archetypal images inside humans. In 5th grade, we're taught that the body's made of atoms with electrons in the outer energy shells. And how many electrons? Vast quantity, almost unimaginable number of electrons just in one human body. And that the electron is not a fundamental particle. So we're able to prove that the universe is infinity to the power of infinity. And when we get inside these atoms, electrons never touch, they repel. No atom touches any other. And the electrons and the particles are so incredibly tiny, and E equals mc squared, so their energy as well. And the atom is such an incredible amount of empty space. It's energy, but it's empty space. If you remove the empty space from the atoms of all the people in the world, the entire human race would fit into a sugar cube. And what we do know that does touch is photons, light particles, because the light touches the electrons through emission and absorption. So thereby we are all of light. We are photonic energy beings. And because of this, we need to recognize the vast quantity. And we now proved through quantum entwinement that we are all connected. And that there's good and bad energy, hot and cold, and all this different type of diversity that comes out of the world. This incredible diversity of what we are as human beings. And as we interact with each other. And basically, there's different energies that form. Different type of archetypal energies. Ideas of who and what we are that have been made over the years. And some of these choices of who we become come to us from the nature of our own genetic and epigenetic structure. And some of these choices come from nurture, come from the forces of the environment around us that mold and shape us into who and what we are. But there's incredible diversity in the energy of the human being. And we're going to be studying about the archetypal energies and how it is wrong for people to try to impress their views on another. And that truly the greatest problem that could ever come out is extremism. We should never try to be extremist. We should try to embrace the diversity and the choice of the other people around us. Now we need to start talking about the born innate instincts that humans have. And basically there are some instincts that are very important, whether we care for others, things about right or wrong. These are very, very important. We need to understand the ideas and the extremities of these ideas. You see, human emotions and behavior will vary between extremes of belief and actions. We could basically see how humans can have polarities. And we could see these fluctuations of emotions and actions as if they were on a gauge. If we can imagine like a gauge, to the left, to the right, to extremes of one side or the other. You could have an extreme to one side, or there could be an extreme to the other side, completely different type of behavior. This is what we're going to be studying and trying to encourage people to be down the middle and to have little fluctuations and not to be extremists. Today we will discuss the idea of tribe loyalty, the idea of the sage, and loyalty to self, the loner, the orphan, and the tribe. There's an instinct in the human being for tribal loyalty, and it's very, very important. You see, tribes need to depend on each other, and there's an innate instinct inside to help fight and die for the other people in our group. Our chemistry is tied to this. We try to merge into a social mind. It's the result of a basic idea that we are a social group of people, that there is peer pressure that actually works on us and that produces the ideas of tribes. Now, in today's world, some of these tribes are gangs. The gangs have become the new tribes, you see. And that there's a brotherhood, a togetherness, a belonging. These are all part of the human nature, part of things that we need, because we are truly social beings. And we draw allegiances even to our teams, the sport teams, because then we are part of that tribe, and we celebrate when there's victory. and we cry in their defeat. We basically all have this idea of different tribes. It even especially goes into the military and their ideas of tribes.
To respect the code.
What's the code?
Unit, core, God, country.
I beg your pardon?
Unit, core, God, country.
Sir.
That's our code, sir.
It's a code.
We'll be...
Yes, the code of respect and honor in tribal relationships. That is very important in the military. Very important for the sports team. That the sports team gets up and works together as a cohesive unit. And it goes into the political parties as well.
The people of America are not being represented. Our political leaders are too indebted to special interest groups and party politics.
Yes, the parties help to blind people to true respect or true critical thinking. Blind them to the truth.
This country was founded on the principle of government of the people, by the people, for the people. We are the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. We are the most powerful nation on this planet, and yet we can't educate our own children.
Learn to think critically. Don't be spoon-fed your opinions by the media or by the party you belong to. Learn to think.
Well, I believe we should have politicians who represent us and not special interest groups. Whenever they want to distract you, they use weapons of mass distraction. They bring up a constitutional amendment to ban burning of the flag. By spending even one moment in Congress talking about that, you're denying these other things, education, environmental issues. So what I'm here to talk...
Martin Luther said that the Lord commonly gives riches to foolish people, and whom he gives nothing else. Well, basically the idea of manners, morals, respect, trust, patience, class, integrity, love, character, common sense. You see, these are things that money can't buy, and maybe here's proof of it. We can make fun of Trump, but we're actually making fun of the party system.
When you have a political campaign that costs $200 million, you owe someone something somewhere down the line.
And Trump is very indebted to big oil and fossil fuel and a host of other people, including the World Wrestling Federation, for contributions they made to his election campaign.
I decided to run because I'm fed up with party politics. I'm tired of the Republican Party. I'm tired of the Democratic Party.
Oh, little
There's no
edgy.
real difference. It's Mr. Potato Candidate.
Republicans are fucking idiots, and Democrats are fucking idiots, and conservatives are idiots, and liberals are idiots, and anyone that makes up their mind before they hit an issue is a fucking fool, okay?
We have to learn the ability to think. Think critically and make up our own minds, not be spoon-fed ideas.
I'm a conservative, I'm liberal, I'm conservative. It's bullshit. Be a fucking person. Listen. Let it swirl around your head. Then form your opinion. No normal, decent person is one thing, okay?
Yes, there is the left, there's the right, there's conservative, there's liberal. There's all this, but it's the extremes that are the problem. We need to avoid extremism.
I got some shit I'm conservative about. I got some shit I'm liberal about. Crime, I'm conservative. Prostitution, I'm liberal.
Develop the ability to think critically, evaluate, reason, check, question, learn how to think, and watch our course to learn more.
Are you tired of the Democratic Party? Are you tired of the Republican Party? Are you tired of a Congress that does nothing? Are you tired of having twice as many lobbyists as they've ever had before? Deny.
Yes, lemmings are social animals too, and they follow the other, and they run off the cliff, actually. And that Trump is leading people off another cliff, taking us to war. Everybody wants to belong. Nobody wants to be rejected.
Hello. That's a different look for you, isn't it?
Are you the keymaster?
Not that I know of.
The human being is a social animal. Does not want to be rejected, wants to be accepted. The human being actually worries about what other people think. The human being wants to try to work together, to try to find compassion, try to find contact. This is something that human beings really do. It goes beyond just the ideas of love. It goes into compassion for others, etc. And few people have the talent to be able to see through that. There are lions who do not need the approval of sheep. And the capacity for personal freedom, this is a rare talent. But we have to recognize that the rest of us really can't. They get along to go along. But recognize that the worst psychopaths in history wore suits. Whatever you do, don't trust a suit. Be cautious and develop critical thinking. There's tribe pressure, there's peer pressure, but please don't be totally blinded. Let's learn about critical thinking so that we can improve our lives and improve our world. Most people are blind to reality, and most of them only see what they want to see. You see, that we have the idea of the blind masses who often just go along to get along. They really don't see things, and many of them don't really have the intelligence. They're kind of mindless, and they don't really have the intelligence to see what is happening. So they have to kind of follow, because on their own they would be more or less helpless. They wouldn't be able to figure out some of the simplest things. So the idea that the masses and the mass effect, and as we have said, something like 18 out of 20 people just go along to get along. They're part of the mindless masses that are swept. They stand in line when they're told to stand in line, march when they're told to march. And they have to have confidence, and basically this confidence shapes their perception, the illusion of their reality, because their reality is shaped by the other people, the intelligent, the rich, etc. And all of these people are then guided along as they follow the will of the masses, the will of the controllers. You see, they don't have the ability to really judge or know or ascertain or think for themselves. Now we have the idea of the tribe loyalty of the fans. You see, the basic idea that supports the tribe is built on this idea that most of these people need to follow. And that's what we have, the following of the mindless masses.
If re-elected, would you increase the frequency of garbage pickup?
Well, citizen, that's an excellent question, and I thank you for it. I think it's great we live in a town where you can ask questions, because without questions, we just have answers.
Yes, most people don't really have the intelligence or confidence in their intelligence, so they kind of just go along to get along, and they kind of believe almost anything that they're told.
Oh, I like him. He looks me in the eye.
I'd like to have a beer with him. I'm voting for him.
I don't understand these people. He didn't even say anything and they're eating it up.
Lois, undecided voters are the biggest idiots on the planet.
They don't really listen to the issues or to the intellectual concepts. What they do is they listen to the tone and the emotional energy, and they make their decision based on emotions and feelings.
Sir, your question, please?
Mrs. Griffin, what do you plan to do about crime in our city?
A lot. Because that's what Jesus wants. 9/11 was bad.
Yes, it is amazing how stupid people can be, and just really how they can be so easily led.
Mrs. Griffin, what are your plans for cleaning up our environment?
9/11.
Mrs. Griffin, what about our traffic problem?
9/11.
Yes, in America, anyone can become president. You see, and that's the problem. You should have to at least pass a test of intelligence and mental stability and ethics. This really should be what happened. And we should have a test for voters for their mental stability and intelligence as well. Because if you can't spell USA, if you don't know the number for 911, if you think that killing a child is okay, or if you think it's okay to elect a bigot, then you should not be allowed to vote. Well, sometimes tribe loyalty can put you into somewhat difficult, precarious situations, and you might get something that you think you don't deserve. But let's now take a look at the idea of the sage for a bit. The sage learns about truth and understanding. The wise old sage that comes to understand. But sometimes the sage goes too far and love has to step in.
If you kill him, you'll have to kill me too.
The lover, speaking of which,
I won't.
Person who loves,
I love him.
Who sacrifices for love. And love is the base emotion of the lover. That all things are to be love, compassion. This is the heart of the lover. The magician who makes dreams come true. Sometimes they become nightmares, but sometimes dreams come true. So some people identify with the magician, the person who's able to magically influence the world and create things and help people. Sometimes for money. The orphan, the person who's left alone. We see the sad story of the orphan. Of course, Disney's not going to let the orphan be too long. That wouldn't be too good. But people sometimes identify with the orphan. And then we have tribe loyalty, and on the other side we have the loner, who stands up alone.
I guess this is just another lost cause, Mr. Payne. All you people don't know about lost causes. Mr. Payne does.
Inside all of us there's a loner, and inside all of us there's loyal to our tribe. Which one do we activate?
For the only reason any man ever fights for them. Because of just one plain simple rule. Love thy neighbor. And in this world today full of hatred, a man who knows that one rule has a great trust.
And being a loner at times gives you a chance to look inside and find some truth.
You think I'm licked? You all think I'm licked. Well, I'm not licked. And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause. Even if this room gets filled with lies like these.
So we all have some different ideas that we need to struggle with and to look at. Ideas of the tribe. Ideas of the self. Ideas of the loner. The sage. And all these things. So we can start to understand that all of these things are meant to work through us and around us as our life changes from time to time. All of us are born with a predilection. All of us are born with something inside that helps to push us in a certain direction towards a certain archetype. And then later on, nurture will guide us into other different ideas. But all of these then come together as we start to blend. And we need to recognize that extremism is not really the answer. Not to be caught in extremism, but basically not to be caught in any one of these ideas of an archetype, and to let them flow around us so that we can capture the beauty and the wonder and the majesty and the fantastic world that we live in. To understand more about how we are, what we are, and all of the different grand and glorious ideas that make us brave, that make us courageous, that allow us to touch other people and have the emotional quality, to find the magic in life. And the magic in life is never in one fixation. The magic in life. Well, my karma once again has rode over and crushed your dogma. And basically, I hope that you all can find the archetype within and recognize, don't be fixated in it, be flexible.